morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
I was watching a good-looking ranch horse and rider with a nice display of buckaroo trappings in a ranch horse competition a little while ago, and I was really impressed with the way the horse worked and the way the rider handled him. They did a great job, a perfect pattern, nice lead changes, spins, and stops. The cow work was superb, and he sent out a neat loop with a 60-foot riata that sailed around the cow's head, and the old pony just stopped and held that critter perfectly. Turns out that rider was longtime rancher and well-known rawhide trader John Laurie, and he'll tell us about his rawhide work and that horse today.
Probably the softest he is when you actually line out after something that you want to try and rope. You know, he just everything kind of softens, and he just loves that. You know.
The Rangeland News has information on a domestic buffalo being shot and left to die, more calves lost to wolves, and how folks are opting to eat at restaurants instead of buying groceries.
So you see real dollars back at grocery stores declining.
And the subject of the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight is 7 magic words that have contributed to the survival of this way of life.
Cowgirls young and cowboys old still quote his words today, and they'll quote them 100 years from now.
That's a neat one from the queen of cowboy poetry, Doris Daly. Her poem reveals what those 7 magic words are. On the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, I'll give you a good test to really be able to tell if your horse is well broke, connected to you, and safe to ride. Don Edwards with a beautiful classic song of the West a little later, and I'll visit with John Laurie after one of Dave Stamey's earliest and most popular songs.
Sleep in a bedroll of canvas, and Ocean's feed on your ears. Wind blows the dust just like buckshot, and I ain't never seen it rain much out here. Smell your own sweat in the evening, wash up at the galvanized tank. The nearest town's 40 miles, the cook here, he don't smile, and all these young horses are rank. But come a tie-yi-yi-yi-o on the back of my caballo, I whoop it, I want on when I can. My spells, they don't ring much, I never did sing much, but I'm sure enough buckaroo man. Cold fingers stiff in the morning, by noon it's 103. 5-year-old slicks in the canyon, and never a hint of a breeze. Jug-headed hollow-back ponies provide all with hours of grief. There's snakes in the shade, choil on the grade, and a half a ton of grit between my teeth. But come a tie-yi-yi-yi-o on the back of my caballo, I whoop it, I want on when I can. My spurs, they don't ring much, I never did sing much, but I'm sure enough buckaroo man. call me Yippee-yi-yo on the back of my caballo. I whoop it, I want on when I can. My spurs, they don't ring much, I never did sing much, but I'm sure enough buckaroo man. I said, call me Yippee-yi-yo on the back of my caballo. I'll whoop it, I want on when I can. My spurs, they don't ring much, I never did sing much, but I'm sure enough buckaroo man. Buckaroo man.
John Laurie was riding a good horse at what was called the Ugly Ranch Horse Competition a while back, but that horse was anything but ugly.
John, I just interested in that horse you were riding there in the arena today. What's the story on him and his background?
Well, he's getting up in years now, but he's just basically a ranch horse that I had started. Sid Cook actually started him, and then I just took him from there as a 3-year-old, and it's been a long process, but he just keeps getting better and better, and he's got the odd little quirk and stuff, but he's been a good honest horse.
How old is he now?
He's about 17, I guess.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Still basically pretty sound?
He hasn't had to work. Well, you can see he's a little on the chubby side there today, but yeah, he hasn't been, really worked hard in rough country and stuff. So, I think he's got lots of years left in him.
Well, that's
I think.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the way he worked, and I like the connection you seem to have with him.
Well, like I say, we've been together for a while through some ups and downs kind of thing,
I'm trying to remember, were you riding him in a 2-rein?
Yeah, I had him in the 2-rein.
Right.
I've got him pretty close to being straight up, but I just thought in something like this today that, something when things get speeded up a little bit, I'd just, have a little bit of backup with the 2-rein. And
Coming up is more from this well-known rancher, horseman, and rawhide braider, as well as a song from the son of the famous cowboy troubadour Stu Davis, when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West, watching a good cowboy or a buckaroo on his horse, what we call straight up in the bridle, with either a half-breed, a Santa Barbara, or other finely crafted bit, is pure poetry in motion for me to watch. And I sure enjoyed discussing the process of developing a bridle horse with John Laurie.
The way it seems for me is about the time I finally get them to where they're going pretty good in the 2-rein, and now we're just about going to, just go with a little Bosalito or an underbridle and one hand and everything. They get too old and they break down.
Yeah, well, that can happen too. I don't know. I'm a little, I've only been doing this for the last 15 years or so, and I wish I'd done it a lot sooner. But the little bit I've done, I think a guy should get in the 2-rein a lot quicker. Like, don't expect, a lot of people say have them going perfectly in a Boselle, but I know when I've switched over to a 2-rein, like there's lots of stuff that you can get them to do that maybe you're having a little bit of trouble with in the just the straight Boselle, and they start to, because they're carrying the bit, especially if it's a spade, they start carrying that bit properly, and that encourages them to frame up a little bit more too, so they kind of carry themselves better, and then that helps them get handier and stuff, so it's a bunch of fun. And
it's beautiful when it's working and the horse is working right.
And if a guy treats it with the idea of you're helping the horse, and there's so much there to help the horse with, because even when you're in the 2-rein, you can reach down with your Boselle and help him if he's if he's not bending,
to counter bend a little bit or something.
Yeah, you can help him out of that, and instead of being
look this way a little bit.
Yeah, and that's that's a long process getting them one-handed and still bend the right way, and because if they're not bent, their back is all out of kilter, and they can't do anything properly.
And they're working off their front end instead of their hindquarters.
They get on the front end and stuff. So.
Well, we'll talk about ranch roping and find out more about John Laurie's background after something that seems to fit with this time of year. Some of you, if you're almost as old as I am, can remember Stu Davis, the beloved Cowboy Troubadour from back in the 50s and 60s. Man, I used to run home from school just in time to listen to his 15-minute daily radio show with the theme song, Saddle Your Worries to a Cowboy Song and Yodel Your Troubles Away. Well, he went on to be the host of CBC Television's Red River Jamboree, Trail Riding Troubadour, and Rope Around the Sun, if I remember. And his son, Dwayne, would sometimes come on that early radio show and sing a few songs as well back when he was, around 7 or 8. And the first song I remember young Dwayne doing was Candy Kisses. I've since then been lucky enough to share a few stages with Dwayne in recent years. Here's Dwayne Stewart and a song he wrote called Early Snow.
The elk are coming down from the hills each morning. The winter grazing's better here below. The evening sky last night was like a warning. It's cold outside and looking like early snow. This morning, it's cold outside and looking like early snow. Every year this town is getting smaller. The kids can hardly wait to up and go. And now they've closed the high school down forever. It's cold outside and looking like early snow. This morning, it's cold outside and looking like early snow. Clouds up over the mountains getting darker every day. As soon as the wind turns westerly, they're bound to head this way. There's been no rain all summer, and all the grass is brown. The rodeo is over, and the circus is leaving town. Another farming family left the valley. They left last night, nobody heard them go. They left the tractor standing in the hayfield. It's cold outside, looking like early snow. This morning, it's cold outside, looking like early snow. The elk are coming down from the hills each morning. The winter grazing's better here below. The evening sky last night was like a warning. It's cold outside and looking like early snow. This morning, it's cold outside and looking like early snow. It's cold outside and looking like early snow. This morning, it's cold outside and looking like early snow.
Well, John Laurie made a fine catch in the roping element of that ranch horse competition.
That was a pretty nice catch you made, too. Pretty nice.
Well,
Don't tell me it was a lucky throw.
You probably heard lots of those stories. No, sometimes they catch it, sometimes they don't.
and I love the way he worked the rope, too.
Yeah, well, he's held lots of stuff over the years and dragged quite a few calves and stuff. And actually, he's he can be a little strong or a little nervous sometimes, but probably the softest he is when you actually line out after something that you want to try and rope. He just everything kind of softens and he just loves that.
That's nice. So give me some more of your life story, like how you got kind of connected with horses and the ranching and the rawhide breeding.
Well, I guess I kind of been in it all my life. I, grew up on a farm and went to university and actually started farming and ranching on my own. And actually worked for the SN Ranch at Claresholm when we were first married there before we went home. So that was a good ranching experience. And I don't know, it's just kind of ongoing from there. And always kind of interested in horses and trying to get a little bit better, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you're kind of always trying to go in that direction anyway, And then I kind of spent my working career in the feed business, selling livestock feed to feedlots and stuff like that. But I've been retired now for 10 years or better.
Well, there's much more to come from John Laurie, and Baxter Black is next with these thoughts.
Time to be proud of your horse, your kids, your way of life, and your contribution to society.
When the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Howdy, friends. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan, and I'll be right back after this
with a little peek at cow working time in the fall.
Well, friends, thanks for listening. It'll be no surprise that I've published a beautiful new hardback book called A Commotion in Rhyme. It fits in the bunkhouse, the outhouse, the bookstore, the library, or the cookbook. Unfortunately, it won't fit in a cupcake. Buy two, get one free. A commotion? Oh. Call 800-654-2550 or BaxterBlack.com. Come to think of it, it might fit in a Caesar salad.
It's fall, cow working time, calf shipping time, as the cowboys yearn for in song. I'd like to be in Kansas for the roundup in the fall. Well, really it was Texas for the roundup in the spring, but on most outfits, fall is a bigger deal. The fall gather is often simple on an Ohio farm, where you may run 2 cows to the acre, shake a grain bucket, or take the dog and the grandkid out on the four-wheeler and bring 'em in. But on a ranch that runs 400 cows on 20 sections, the gather often requires 2 or 3 days, bad weather, the banker, the horseshoer, the brother who lives in the city, all the kids, and everybody's dog to bring in the bunch. The fall ranch gather is the height of a cowman's satisfaction. Cool sunshine, crisp nights, autumn leaves, frisky calves, long days in the saddle. Time to be proud of your horse, your kids, your way of life, and your contribution to society. It's a time of thankfulness that's shared by corn farmers in the fall putting down the rows during harvest, or a high school graduate listening to her commencement speaker, or a soldier coming home after their tour of duty. It's a sense of fulfillment. It's also the calm before the storm. Once they reach the home corrals, the calves are separated from their mamas and often sorted by sex and weighed. The bawling is deafening. Big semis arrive. Calves are loaded aboard and sent off to sale barns, feedlots, or grass operations. Then the cows are dry lotted overnight and worked the next day. During their 30 to 60-second stop in the squeeze chute, each cow is given a quick examination. Her teeth are checked to determine age. Eyes checked. Each cow is asked to read an eye chart. As are feet and udders. The veterinarian does a rectal palpation to determine pregnancy. And if she's deemed young, healthy, and bred, she's vaccinated and dewormed. And at the conclusion of the rattling, banging, and bawling, and occasional outburst of sailor language, the cull cows are shipped, the good cows are turned out. And then when the dust is settled, there's usually time for football, fixing machinery, and Christmas, and feeding cows, until calving season begins again early next spring, and the cycle starts all over. This is Baxter Black
on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan.
Thanks for listening.
I got a lot of favorable comments when I played this last November 11th weekend, and I thought it would fit real well this weekend again. It's the singing horseshoer Eldon Blanchard, and it's called Canadian Freedom.
Well, the sayings that we hear fill our minds, like save the best for last. Don't put off what you can do today. In Mounties, they always get their man. I don't know about the redcoats if they gun down every outlaw in the West, but our sayings and the men who built this land, we know what's for the best. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky, that the passions and the heartaches of our forefathers caused some of them to die. But the sacrifice they made led to freedom for friends like you and I. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky. Just put yourself in the shoes of a soldier who's taken Vimy Ridge, as he screams in pain and agony and watches other comrades lose their lives. Or the men who settled on the prairie worked their aching fingers to the bone, just to feed their children's children, so that one day you and I could have a home. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky, that the passions and the heartaches of our forefathers caused some of them to die. But the sacrifice they made led to freedom for friends like you and I. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky. Men talk about the way it used to be. Just remember they were there, and there's reasons why you don't put off the days. Now I think about the Mounties, if they hadn't gunned down outlaws in the West, it might have been a different land we're living in, and not quite for the best. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky, that the passions and the heartaches of our forefathers caused some of them to die. But the sacrifice they made led to freedom for friends like you and I. So remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky. Just remember when you see that maple leaf up there flying in the sky.
Now the news of the Rangeland, a roundup of news and coming events from around the West.
At the top of page 1, it says, those of us who live beyond where the pavement ends don't eat out a lot unless we're traveling, and we try to stock up on groceries when we make our usually once-a-week trip to the city. But I guess maybe we're in the minority, and it looks like more and more folks are opting to eat at restaurants instead of buying their own groceries. What's this? Now, Gary Crawford has a story about this, but wait a minute, what's this, Gary?
For supermarkets across the country these days,
it's jungle out there.
It's a jungle because
people are spending more at food away from home establishments.
Agriculture Department research economist Abigail Okrent, in a new look at data from 1997 to 2017, she says spending at restaurants has been surpassing spending on grocery store foods since back in 2010. And traditional supermarkets are also losing out as shoppers are buying a larger share of their at-home food at warehouse clubs, supercenters, and such. And so
the grocery store share of food at home has really declined a lot,
dropping 13% since 1997. Now, some businesses can see market share shrink, but sales go up anyway because of inflation or overall growth in demand. But Okren says that's not the case for supermarkets.
So you see real dollar spent at grocery stores declining.
And so for supermarkets,
there's a jungle out there.
Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
I think he always wanted to be a DJ. Well, Robert Hampton, who farms near Blueberry Mountain, Alberta, recently found that one of his pregnant buffalo cows had died from a gunshot wound. He discovered the animal lying down alone, roughly 9 meters from his fence line. When they're off by themselves, he said, there's usually something wrong. And he said, when I got to her, there was blood coming from her belly. Hampton said he skinned the wounded area and discovered that the animal had been shot, and he immediately phoned the RCMP so they could gather evidence. And he said that 3 miles down the road from him, there were 2 moose shot earlier this year and just left. Anyone with information can call the Spirit River RCMP at 780-864-3525. Another pioneer of the North American cattle industry has ridden across the Great Divide. Longtime Hereford breeder and Calgary businessman Donald Cross died October the 19th. He was born in Calgary in 1932 and was involved with the brewing, hotel, and ranching industries. His grandfather was A.E. Cross, and he was, of course, one of the Big Four who started the Calgary Stampede. And his father, James, established the famous Bar Pipe Farms in 1953 near Okotoks, Alberta. And the family has run a production sale at the ranch for more than 50 years and has been active supporters of the Calgary Bull Sale, where the Bar Pipe name was often associated with the high-selling Grand Champions, and their genetics have gone all around the world. After 16 separate attacks on livestock, wildlife officials in Washington state have approved the lethal removal of the remaining pack members of the old Profanity Territory wolf pack. And the rancher who suffered the loss has been using range riders to help reduce the likelihood of wolf interactions on the range, and he's in the process of getting them removed from the grazing allotment. The cattle are out, or supposed to be out, by October the 15th, and about 90% have been accounted for, but because, of course, the terrain is rugged and the timber's dense, there are still some stragglers to come in off that range. Well, there's a calf and yearling and regular cattle sale at the BC Livestock Co-op Kamloops Yards, November the 13th, and November the 14th at the Williams Lake Yards. It's a calf sale, and then the regular sale there November 15th, and in Vanderhoof on November the 16th, the bred cow, bred heifer, and regular sale. You can get all the details streaming live, or you can get all the details at bclivestock.bc.ca, and that's where you can watch the sales streaming live. Meanwhile, over at the Innisfail Auction Market, the next horse sale is November the 17th. And, of course, they're having their pre-sort sales on Mondays now. The calves are in and weighed on Sunday for Monday's sale. And regular sales, of course, every Wednesday. You can call and list your cattle at 1-800-710-3166. And we're down to the final item. And we sure enjoyed visiting with so many friends at the main event a few weeks ago. And someone commented that whenever we were walking around, Billy and I always seemed to be holding hands. And somebody said, how come? And my answer is, well, you see, if I let go, she shops. And then Billy said, yep. And when I let go, he gets lost. But someone asked Billy then if she had to work hard at keeping me on track and if I ever resist her guidance. And I have to admit that sometimes she has to work hard, and I do. Like the other day, when she told me I had to stop acting like a flamingo, I knew it was time to put my foot down. And that's the Rangeland News. Coming up on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, a way to test your horse's connection to you when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. Coming up on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, one test that will show you how well your horse is connected to you. One of the most trusting horses I think I ever had, next to my beloved buckskin mare Lucky, was an Appy. He was only 3 and barely started when I rode him at the Calgary Stampede, covering the Chuckwagon races live for CFAC's radio broadcasts. And I've had several more Appies who are all really nice. And this song is actually from the Walt Disney production Run, Appaloosa Run, written and sung by Bobby Wayne, who is in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame. Now, after Elvis Presley died, the famous quartet, the Jordanaires, who backed Elvis for so many years, worked with Bobby Wayne, and you'll hear them prominently in this one.
Back in history's pages, there's a story we all know, how the white man fought the Indian, so the story goes. Have you heard about the horse the Indians say sweat blood, war horse of the Nez Perce, the Appaloosa stud? Appaloosa, Appaloosa, with your head held high. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, the proudest horse a man could ever ride. He could outrun any other horse in distance or in speed. When the chase began, the Appaloosa always took the lead. The cavalry could never catch Chief Joseph and his band. The The Nez Perce have the fastest, toughest horses in the land. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, with your head held high. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, proudest horse a man could ever ride. Well, they came from Spain to Mexico in the year of 92. From Mexico to the western states, the Appaloosa grew. The Indians said they liked his looks, his color, fire, and speed. The war horse of the Nez Perce, proudest of the western breed. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, with your head held high. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, proudest horse a man could ever ride. General Howard gave the order when the war was done to kill the spotted horses, each and every one. Joseph's brother led 6,000 to the riverbed. Crossed the raging river, 3,000 there were dead. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, with your head held high. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, proudest horse a man could ever ride. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, with your head held high. Appaloosa, Appaloosa, proudest horse a man could ever ride. Proudest horse a man could ever ride. Proudest horse a man could ever ride.
So what are you doing from August 29th to September 13th, 2019? Well, Billy and I will be hosting our 18th annual Spirit of the West cruise, and here's where we'll be going. We'll fly to Dublin, Ireland. We'll be visiting an Irish thoroughbred breeding farm. We'll be hosted by the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation, and then we'll sail to some historic and beautiful places including Cork, Belfast, then Glasgow and Inverness, Scotland. And we might even get pictures of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. And we'll have stops in Paris and London. Now, this is something we've always wanted to do, and we'd love to have you join us. Get all the information at 1-800-530-0131. And check our Spirit of the West cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com and our cruise Facebook page.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
Experience the true Spirit of the West at Canada's largest Western store, Irvine Tack and Western Wear. If you need a curb strap or a 4-star gooseneck trailer, you'll find it here. A saddle for every rider. Cutters, reiners, penners, trainers, work and ranch cowboys, ropers. They have over 1,200 in stock. And they have Western wear for the entire family. And how about a gift card? Shop online at irvinesaddles.ca. Free shipping on orders of over $100. irvinesaddle.ca, 1-877-946-9494. Is my horse really broke, reliable, safe, and connected to me? And how can I tell? Well, I've seen a lot of horses in clinics, on trail rides, and in performance competitions that did extremely well. They were soft in the bridle, and they would do smooth transitions, lead changes, 2 tracks, and side passes, and they'd negotiate some challenging obstacles in the arena on the course. And they would also be pretty good on a trail ride with either 1 or 2 riders or a larger group. But here's what I think is one of the ultimate tests. Let's say a group of horses ridden together at a clinic or an event for several days and had become used to each other. They were stabled where they could see each other at night. Now they all went out on the trail for about an hour's leisurely ride and then back to the comfort of the arena. No problems. It was pretty relaxed. But now say you were one of the riders and you have all the other riders take their horses back to the stabling area while you're left alone in the arena. Can you ride your horse from the arena exit back to the far end and have him go softly, quietly, and willingly? Or is he showing mild or strong resistance, not moving freely, turning back if you stop guiding him, or looking back and maybe calling to the other horses? Or let's say you just got back to the home base with a group of riders on horses your mount is familiar with, and just as they head through the final gate into the stabling area, can you turn your horse around and ride him quietly and willingly back up the trail you just came in on? If he does that, and will take you anywhere you want to go, it's an indication that he is well connected to you. But you know, it's surprising how few otherwise well-broke, highly skilled horses just can't resist the draw of the herd and let it overtake their connection with the rider. And for Urban Saddles and Western Wear, that's the Horse Training File. Something that we find sure keeps our horses fit and feeling good is that daily feeding of Hoffman's Horse Ration, and you can find out more at hoffmanshorseration.com. You know, I sure enjoyed watching John Laurie in a recent ranch horse competition. He's been involved with horses most of his life, including ranching, rodeo. He rode bareback broncs, and he team roped. He started colts, and he got into rawhide braiding back in 2005 when he couldn't find a bosel that he really liked.
About that time, I'd started playing around with braiding and made a bosel or two, and somebody said, "Can you make me one?" And now it's kind of developed into it's hard to keep up, to be honest with you. I feel pretty fortunate that I've got people that kind of like it.
I just admire that stuff so much.
And, thank you. Yeah.
Nobody, we use it, but we don't realize the hours and hours that go into making
there's especially depending on how far into it you get. Like I make my own rawhide. I get like a raw hide, right? If somebody butchers a cow, and then I take it from there and dehair it and
green hide
stretch
right from the start.
Yeah. So by the time I finished the project, there's a lot of me in it. By the time you make your rawhide and everything, sort of thing. But it's good.
Yeah. That's great. Well, John, thanks for the short visit here. Appreciate that. It was fun watching you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed visiting with you too. Thank you.
Now, if you're interested in some of the beautiful gear that John makes, you can check out John Laurie, that's LOREE.wordpress.com, or you can call him at 403-646-5570 or 403-603-3772. And I thought John would enjoy this piece from Waddy Mitchell called The Rawhide Braider.
Under two, over two, lay, pull, again. It'll be a new quirt when I get to the end, and we'll dress up the saddle of some lucky friend. Under two, over two, lay, pull, again. He sat in the shade of the barn every Sunday, as he had for more years than I'd been, scraping hair off a hide he had skinned, stretched, and dried to cut braiding strings, narrow and thin. With his practiced eye and the skill of a craftsman, for usable art he would strive. His advice to the world, always moving so fast, was, slow down, no one gets out alive. Slow down, no one gets out alive. Under four, over two, lay, pull, again. This'll turn out so nice it'll hang in the den when I give it to some old-time buckaroo friend. Under four, over two, lay, pull, again. I spent most of my Sundays in his school of life while he'd share of the things that he knew, and found that some guys I had long idolized learned life lessons under him too. Prepare the hide well. Keep your blade razor sharp. Temper the strings almost dry. Take time to lay each rawhide plat tight and straight, and build something that's worthy of pride. Yes, make something that's worthy of pride. Under two, over 1, lay, pull, again. This'll be a Rietta when I reach the end, but only as good as what I have put in. Under 2, over 1, lay, pull, again. Under 2, over 1, lay, pull, again.
The Spanish term for a braided rawhide bosal is yakima, and for speed bit it's freno, hence the development of a bridle horse. Here's Ian Tyson.
He's an old vaquero from another time, hands as fine as the dealers of Reno. He been to the ocean, he been to the sea, big long tapaderos hanging both sides of an old Visalia tree. Hey, Mr. Vaquero, put a handle on the pony for me, teach me the mystery. Wakina de Freno is an old amansador, still hanging on, just about gone like the California condor. He been down to the rodeo ground, seen him on the movie screen now, but sometimes I think he's like America, only see him in my dreams. Hey, Mr. Vaquero, put a handle on the pony for me, teach me the mystery. Did they sing all day? Did they dance all night? Did they ride their spade? Did ponies through the golden light? Did they find true love? Was that all a bunch of lies? Keep sobbing, maybe it was paradise. He's an old vaquero from another time, hands as fine as the dealers of Reno. He been to the ocean, he been to the sea, big long tapaderos hanging both sides of an old Visalia tree. Hey, Mr. Vaquero, put a handle on the pony for me, teach me the mystery. Mr. Vaquero, put a handle on my pony for me, teach me the mystery. Did they sing all day? Did they dance all night? Did they ride their spade? Did ponies through the golden light? Did they find true love? Was that all a bunch of lies? Keep sobbing, maybe it was paradise.
Coming up is our classic Song of the West and the queen of cowboy poetry, Doris Daly, When the Spirit of the West, continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. In looking for another classic Western song, this one is a combination, a poem written long ago by Charles Badger Clark, and it was set to a beautiful melody by Don Edwards. And like so many classic cowboy songs, it relates to the job of night herding. And I guess years ago, just like today, a lot of cowboys could certainly carry a tune and they tried to find a nice soothing melody to sing to the cattle as they slowly rode around the bed ground on their faithful night horse. This is Don Edwards and the Night Herder.
I laughed when the dawn was a-peepin', and swore in the blaze of the noon. But down from the start is a creepin', a softer, uneasier tune. Away and away and away, the whispering night seems to say, though the trail-weary cattle are sleeping, and the desert dreams under the moon, there's a pass where the black shadows shiver, and a desert all silvery and blue, a divide and the breaks by the river, then a light in the valley and you. Away and away and away, 'tis a month since I see you by day, but under the moon it's forever, and the weary trail winds the world through. Now the coyotes are laughing out yonder, a happy owl whoops on the hill. The wild lucky things that can wander as far and as free as they will. Away and away and away, and I that am wilder than they must loll in my saddle and ponder, or sing for the cattle to be still. I see the dark river waves wrinkle, the valley trees droop in a swoon. You're dreaming where valley bells jingle, and a half-asleep mockingbird croon. Away and away and away, do your dainty dreams ever stray to a camp where the desert stars twinkle, and a lone rider sings to the moon? Away and away and away, to the rim where the heat lightnings play. Out there is the one trail that matters, the one that leads home to you.
Well, when it comes to charm, the queen of cowboy poetry, Doris Daly, has it in spades. She's in the spotlight this week with those 7 magic words.
There's a valley in the foothills where a timeless river runs, where tough can come in any shape or size. Get ready for some trouble, get ready for some fun, 'cause any trail can throw you a surprise. Men are working cattle who were boys just yesterday. Look around and the generations blur. The circle keeps on spinning, and I think it's safe to say this breed of men and women will endure. And so will all the markers, the memories and the tales, the stuff of wrecks and roundups, big and small. Round here, when folks are faced with a tough or nasty trail, it's 7 words from an old neighbor they recall. No need to study 7 steps to find success at work. And while some of those self-help books may be true, it's 7 words from an old cowboy when trouble starts to lurk, and folks here say, what would Kerm's staff do? Just an old Norwegian cowboy, they still can hear him say those 7 simple words that got him through. Trail is bad, weather's worse, turn back or turn away, and yet they know that's not what Kerm would do. Cowgirls young and cowboys old still quote his words today, and they'll quote them 100 years from now. Never say no in a tight spot. That's what Kerm would say. You'll figure out the where and what and how. Never say no in a tight spot. Give it your best shot. You'll get dinged and bruised and bent along the way. But when the choice is given up, or given all you got, just ask yourself, what would Kerm's staff say? There's a valley in the foothills where the neighbors are agreed those 7 words will never fade away. Never say no in a tight spot. Just a darn good cowboy's creed for chasing cows and what life throws your way.
Well, thanks so much for making the ride today, and I sure hope you can join us right here next week at the same time. And as always, thanks to the Spirit of the West crew, the support crew Mark and Kathy McMillan, now working hard on the 2019 Kamloops Cowboy Festival, coming up March 14th to the 17th. And tickets are on sale now, too. You can order them at bcchs.com or call 1-888-763-2221. And another fine issue of Canadian Cowboy Country Magazine is available now. You can subscribe by going to cowboycountrymagazine.com or look for it at your favorite newsstand. Till next week, I'm Hugh McClellan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.